Hi everyone! Today I wanted to talk about how you can create an art piece with a strong modern atmosphere and what tools you can use to push it in that direction. I'm going to show you how I approach it on my recent painting and walk you through my process of establishing modern atmosphere using it as an example. Paintings have the magical power to make us feel a certain emotion when we look at them. Those emotions are evoked by the mood and atmosphere that the artist intentionally created in a piece. At the same time, it can be hard to quantify and pinpoint what exactly makes up the atmosphere in a certain piece. I think it's sort of like dissecting an illusionist performance, really. Both mood and atmosphere refer to the state of mind or a feeling evoked by a work of art, and a painting can have a calming or a disturbing effect. It can put the viewer in a dark or a bright mood, and anywhere in between. We have a variety of instruments at our disposal to imbue our art piece with a certain mood and atmosphere, and the first one is the subject matter itself. Of course, the subject matter plays a huge role in establishing a mood in your painting. It can be compared to the main character in the story. What is the theme in your art piece? For example, there's a whole genre that spanned across centuries called vanitas, which were typically still life paintings featuring skulls, which served as a memento mori, that is, a reminder of death, and emphasized the transience of life. I've always found symbolism very cool, and it's certainly a direction that I'd like to explore in my own art. And in this painting, I wanted to create a mysterious atmosphere because it's not really clear what the subject matter is. Is this a ghost in a castle full of old paintings? Is this the lady of some manor? Is she just lost? Or is it something else entirely? What's on those paintings? And the whole blurred feeling and inability to put your finger on the subject matter contributes to the mystery of the piece. Another important element to consider is color. Color is one of the most effective ways to create mood and atmosphere, and even historically and culturally, different colors have had different emotional connotations attached to them. Red is obviously the color of passion and power. Yellow is the color of happiness and joy. White symbolizes purity, while blue brings a sense of calm. This painting is dominated by desaturated greens, and green is an interesting one. It symbolizes nature and growth and is typically associated with enchantment and the supernatural, which is something I'm taking advantage of to add to the mysterious atmosphere of the piece. Another important element to consider in color is saturation. Is your painting bright or are the colors more desaturated? Brighter colors tend to be more lively and positive and make the painting more energetic, while muted colors make the piece more calm and subtle. Recently, I tend to lean more towards desaturated colors because they contribute to a sense of depth and allow the viewer to sink deeper into the scene without the distraction of all the vibrant noise. Another question to ask yourself would be, are you using a warm or a cool palette, or perhaps a combination of both? It probably goes without saying, but a painting painted with warm colors makes us feel warm and cozy. Taken to the extreme, it can even evoke a feeling of excitement and passion, and in this piece I'm consciously using a cooler palette of greens and blues, even in the skin tones, because I wanted to feel tranquil and serene, as well as a little cool in a literal sense. You can also create interesting contrast and focal points using a play of cool and warm tones. Another tool at your disposal is value. There are two main things to consider when it comes to value. One is how the painting is keyed, and two is how much contrast it has. High-key paintings are predominantly on the brighter end of the value scale, while low-key paintings are on the darker end. High-key paintings feel airy, bright, and cheerful, while low-key paintings evoke the atmosphere of mystery, drama, and introspection. As you can see, this painting is low-key in value, as it doesn't have almost any bright areas and even the highlights are quite dark. It also uses a compressed value range, meaning that the range between the lightest lights and the darkest darks is relatively narrow. This is an effect widely employed by the tonalist movement, whose paintings have a very subtle, calm, and mysterious mood. High contrast, on the other hand, brings energy and dynamism, and interestingly, high contrast is a much more popular instrument in art, and artists tend to push the contrast in their work. That's why it seems to me that paintings with compressed values have this certain surreal atmosphere just by shunning this concept and choosing to de-escalate the value relationships instead. Another element to consider is composition. Composition is like a conductor in an orchestra. It guides the viewer's eye throughout the painting, and as an artist, you can manipulate your composition to determine that path. Think about where you want the viewer's eyes to land first. What is your focal point? And the focal point itself can play a huge role in creating a story and establishing a mood in your art. Here, for example, I'm using the earring as that grounding point. I wanted it to have a bit of a glowing effect, which I will push more later to add to the haunted, mysterious atmosphere. Think about the arrangement of lines and shapes in your piece. Sharp angles and dramatic contrasts can bring energy and dynamism, while simple shapes and horizontal lines can create a harmonious and tranquil atmosphere. In this painting, the composition is densely packed, which creates a certain tension, while the repeating pattern of the paintings soothes the eyes and guides the viewer through the painting, and then taking them back to the foreground. And finally, one other tool at your disposal is edges. I'll be honest with you, edges are an advanced concept in painting, and I'm still trying to figure them out. However, edges play a crucial role in shaping the visual impact of a painting, so they had to be on this list. Edges refer to how sharp or soft the transitions between different color areas are. Sharp edges evoke the feeling of clarity and precision. They create a dynamic and high-energy atmosphere. Soft edges, on the other hand, contribute to a more subtle and sensitive mood. Blurred transitions between shapes and tones can create a sense of depth and bring a calm, dreamlike quality to a piece. That's why in this piece, I was aiming to soften the transitions. I'm actually planning to glaze over this painting to blur the edges more and add more glow to it with the transparent washes and push the mysterious atmosphere further. Let me know down in the comments if you'd be interested in seeing a video about that. So let's summarize. These are the questions I ask myself when I'm aiming to create a certain mood and atmosphere in my art piece. What is my subject matter? Can I use symbolic elements to give the painting more meaning? What are the predominant hues? How do they relate to each other? How can I use color symbolism? Will bright or muted colors be more suitable? Am I going to use a warm or a cool palette? Is the painting going to be high-key or low-key? How wide or narrow is the value range going to be? What is the focal point, and how can I guide the viewer's eye throughout the composition? How dynamic or calm is my composition? How am I going to balance sharp and blurred edges in my piece? So this is the breakdown of how I approach mood and atmosphere, and if you found any of these tips helpful, then let me know. And also let me know if there's anything else that you'd like me to talk about in more detail. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing to this channel for more art shenanigans and give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.